JCLady.
Hi there, this is Joanna from the channel JCLady Alternative Education, and today we are going to talk about grammar, Polish grammar, as an example of the ancient grammar. Now we are already in the third series. It's on the playlist Comparative Grammar 1. You will find it on my YouTube channel, JCLady Alternative Education, and I'm continuing talking about the verb. However, it's not morphology anymore. I'm not going to talk about the verb just as a small word, part of speech. We are talking about sentences and expressions. That's why we are talking about moods. And I already started talking about that. I made a video about all 7 moods that we've got in Polish and basically in other languages, because they usually exist, all of them exist, in all languages that come from, Indo-European languages, right? But often not all of them are mentioned and not all of them are really categorized. That's what I mean. But when you look at Sanskrit and different languages and you make like a holistic view out of it, you see that there are 7 of them. But I talked about it as a whole, and now today we are going to talk about I already talked about indicative, about requests as well, question request. And today I'm going to talk about imperative, mood, and modals. Now, to me, modals, they are not just words that you use to express yourself. To me, that's another mood. And if you are talking about indicative and imperative, then basically you should talk about moods. But there's a problem with Latin that doesn't really categorize it properly. But it should be done. Here I call it T, it goes for tryby, because tryby in English it's moods. So in my grammar, T3, meaning mood number 3, and 4 are the moods that we are going to talk about today. So let's start maybe with imperative, because I think it's a little easier. But let's review in order to, get the whole picture. So indicative is here. It's neutral. We are just describing the reality, what we see. It's neither positive nor negative at the entrance, at the beginning, right? It can be later on, but basically it's a description. Now, here are requests, and all those 6, you are already entering a kind of relationship with another person, right? So you are not neutral, you are not just describing reality. You want something usually from the other person, at least some kind of answer, or maybe that the person would listen to you, or sometimes you can have the relation with the universe, God, and so on, like in conditionals. So when you've got questions, requests, you are requesting something. In fact, you are not just asking a question just like that. You want the answer, you want the feedback, you want the reaction to do something yourself, right? So action, reaction, and then again, what do you do? And imperative, it's the same. You are entering in the relation, and but this is not so nice as a request and the question request mood. Imperative mood is ordering. That's an order. So you are ordering something, meaning that you are or you are not, but you may be in a position of ordering something to somebody. meaning that you force somebody to do something, in fact, right? So you want somebody to do, but you're not really expressing your will, because that would be the mood expressing the will. We'll talk about it in a moment. You are just ordering, you are just telling the other person what to do. Now, when it becomes complicated when you think about forms. In Polish, there is a kind of complication because our conjugations and determinations of the endings of verbs are really precise, and so we can discuss like what already is an order and what is not. Normally in grammar, you say that the second person of singular and plural makes imperative. But that would be just too easy to say that in Polish, in fact, we've got a special forms. We've got special forms, meaning if you've got the word walking or going, go, then in Polish, when I conjugate this verb, go, I say idę, idziesz, idzie. So the second second person singular would be idziesz, idziesz. And this is the verb of the first type, and this is the aspect continuous, in fact, but let's stick to that, right? As an example, idziesz. But idziesz, it just means you are going, right? You are going. Or you can take something else like chadzasz, and that would be like you go more, in the sense of it would be more the repetitive, simple aspect. However, it's always that ash or esh at the end when you want to do second person. Now in English you don't really make a difference because you say go, 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 and you just use for the third person goes. But in French, for example, and in Polish it's different. So we have idziesz, and normally in grammar it's not considered to be an order. However, I think it is. I think any second person is an order, because you can simply say idziesz, and idziesz, it would mean you are going, right? Or you go. And it's idziesz, and you just use your intonation and put the exclamation mark, and here you are, you've got your order, and that's it. And it's possible. However, in grammar you don't really say it's possible, but you use it and you do it. So idziesz, idziecie, that's plural, second person, meaning you in plural are going, you go. So I consider it to be valid. It can be an order, and it can be the imperative, meaning ordering mood. Meaning, in English you would just say you go, you go. And in English, I suppose it's also an order already. Or you go, guys, right, in plural. But, of course, there is a proper form for imperative, meaning that you don't use that in English, you just don't use the pronoun. And you say go, without the pronoun you. And that's your form for imperative. Or you say go, in plural, go guys, right? And that's your imperative in plural. Now in Polish, we also have a form, but special form, meaning there are special endings. And you just subtract, you just take even from that second person, idziesz, we take that esh, and you've got idź. And it may be complicated to say in English, but it's idź. Alright? Idź. But that's a go, but go is like with the vowel, and here it's idź. And it means go. No pronoun, of course, but even in idziesz, you go, we don't have it. But there is idziesz, second person, And idź, it's a proper order imperative in Polish, and in plural it will be idźcie. And can you hear the difference? Because it's idź imperative, proper, and then idziesz, second person, I would say also imperative, but then in plural you've got idźcie, imperative, and idziecie, second person, plural, but you can use it also as an imperative mode. Idziecie, idziecie, right? Idziecie, I mean, go, you are going. I'm telling you, you are going. Okay, so that would be it. I don't think so we should complicate it too much. I just want to say that the second form of singular and plural can be used as imperative mode, meaning you go in English, or in Polish idziesz, idziecie. However, there are those forms which are proper, like idź, idźcie, and in English just go. Okay, and of course you use the intonation, not the focus, the, I don't know how you call it, stress, you write on your word in that sentence, and you use the exclamation mark. Now the other is, in Polish I call it pragnąco chcący, which is wanting, desiring mood, but that's just your modals, and that would be the mood expressing the will. So you can call it modals, but if you want to call the mood, that would be the willing mood. Now you've got well, Latin is kinda, it was changed a lot, but for example in French you've got two aspects. You've got something like expressions of will, expression de volonté, expressions of will, and that would be your modals, because your modals are basically expressions of will, but after that you make the sentence. And now, in English and in Polish, you are not so forced to use any special kind of sentence after those words, meaning you can use the modals such as, sorry, I touched, I want, I'm willing, I desire, like what are the modals? I can, but also I prefer, I like, that's all modals. According to me, that's everything that expresses your will, what you want. Like this is, here I put ja. Ja, it's me, it's I. That's what it's counting here, right? And that's what's the most important in this mood, that you're expressing your will, or because you can have a question. You can ask somebody, but ask, what is your will? Would you like? That's the willing mood, in fact. The mood of will, expressing the will. But those words, you don't really need, like, some, depends on the word, but normally you don't need a special structure after that. In Polish you say chcę iść. Usually after those words you've got the infinitive. And that's it. In English you say usually to, yeah, you've got the infinitive. I want to go. Sometimes you've got to, sometimes you don't have to, but that's an infinitive form, basically. I want to go. I'm willing to go. I ought to go. Now, ought to is now, ought to is a little complicated, because when you come to, there's a difference between expressing your will, what you're willing to do, and between something that somebody, like when somebody is forcing you to do something. So I think there can be a discussion. I actually, in my grammar, didn't really say precisely whether ought to, must, have to. Like in Polish, it's called musieć. is it in imperative or is it in modals? Because we can discuss, but it will be either here or here. In English, you put it in modals, I guess. But when I was doing grammar, English grammar at my studies, there were discussions still about it, right? Okay, but what I'm saying is that after those modals, expressions of will, you have infinitive. And that's the structure that we use. But there are languages like French or Spanish, they have something like subjunctive, subjuntivo. And it means that after those expressions of will, they've got a special form. Now, I wonder, is there such a big difference? Because they've got the special form, meaning, for example, je voudrais que tu viennes. I would like you to come. This is English, but in French, I would like that you came, kinda, right? It's like a special subjunctive. There is a special form, but still, we have also a kind of special form, because after those words, you have to use the infinitive. You cannot use something else. You cannot say, I want going, right? Or I want goes. You use the infinitive, but they have the special form. Now, I don't think so. The subjunctive should be something apart. In French grammar, they have apart the expressions of will, meaning all those expressions, I would like to, I want, I'm willing, and that's expressions of will, and it's not in a kind of mood. There was a break. Those words in French, those words are expressions of will, expression de volonté. They are followed by the subjunctive ways, subjunctive. Now we don't have that structure, but we've got infinitive. But I consider it all the mood of will. The mood expressing the will, everything, the modals and that structure. The mood basically is the whole sentence. We are not talking just about the verb form, because there we will just talk about those expressions, the modals. Modals are at the level of morphology. That's the part of, you can say that's the part of speech, right? Because it's a verb. Now we are talking about the whole structure. So the mood, this is the mood of will, expressing the will, would be everything. The modal, the expression of will, and the kind of, maybe also the you have to, etc., because you are ordering, but you are expressing your will. So I would have a tendency to say that you ought to, have to, would be here in this mood of willing, right? Willing mood. And then this mood is also the rest, meaning the infinitive or the subjunctive in Spanish or French. Now that's it from me. And remember that the language manifests your world.